Hi, I'm going to do a zine reading from my other zine that I call madiburl and mindfuck revolutions. My friend and I had started creating a dictionary 2007, 2008, and that was one of the words we came up with, and basically it kind of meant like totally like a mindfuck revolution, I guess. So it's kind of, yeah. Anyway, this was gonna be a more political zine, but I think I was kind of getting really overwhelmed with talking about politics strictly, so I just opened it more to kind of whatever I wanted to talk about. So I do talk about politics, but I also kind of talk about things that I'm going through, things that I'm thinking about, things that, like pictures that strike something, things like that. So I wrote this one probably about a year and a half ago. So I'll read this. I'll read a couple things. So, I recently passed my second year of sobriety. Honestly, I'd say it was way harder than the first. I cried so much, felt feelings I never felt before. Sometimes I felt like dying. Once I saw a squirrel run across the street this past fall, so innocent and so sweet. My tears welled up and I started crying. I couldn't take how innocent it was. I lost that part of my life. Maybe that's why I cried. My second year of sobriety made me realize why people don't get sober or why they have a relapse. I don't fucking blame them. And then I have a picture of flowers and I wrote, I felt my heart break again. And that's really how sobriety kind of has been after the first year. Like the first year was really filled with I was learning new behaviors and I was feeling good about myself and things were kind of working out to how I was desperately lacking onto these new things that I was learning, and it was going really well. And I just didn't, I think I kind of thought that it would always go that way. And then after I hit my first year of sobriety, things started getting really tough. I started to realize that there were more things that I needed to work on, and I needed to learn better communication with people, and I needed to work through some of the anger that I had toward men, for example. Some anger stuff and some frustrations with my family I had to work through, and I'm still working through much of that. Some of the new behaviors that I learned weren't really working like they used to. I needed to kind of learn new things. So it's still kind of tough. There are days that I have really bad days. And I think that's kind of tied in with my eating disorder stuff too. I'll read one more. A lot of pictures in here. So this is kind of like a thing that I talked about, the one that I just read. Alright. My feelings that have come up the past 2 years have been so fucking intense. I've always been scared to be angry, but realizing I have the right to be angry. That Stars song, you know that band Stars? Live through this and you won't look back, fit me well this past year. And one thing I let go was my ex and the things I went through to him. He was abusive and I tried so many times to be his friend and I couldn't. I don't want to be his friend. Fuck him. And then when I wrote this, I was listening to that song, Where Is My Mind by the Pixies. I was like, fuck, that's what I'm feeling at that moment, and I still kind of feel that way. And I remember listening to that song when I was pregnant. I was laying in my bed. I had moved out during high school. I think I was 2 months pregnant when I moved out. I was finishing up high school, and then that summer after I graduated high school, I spent my last trimester pregnant, and I remember staying up super late at night and just listening to that song over and over and over, and that's how I felt. I felt totally out of whack and totally crazy, and I just felt I don't know, it was really tough. And I still love that song, and it's interesting because after I had my daughter, I'd put that song in the car when we were driving, and she'd be crying, and then she'd stop. Kind of cool. So yeah, I think that's all that I'll read today, and then I have something that I wrote about my rabbit who died a couple years ago, so I'll read that. So, all right, thanks for listening.